Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your October 2023 mid-month general reading. We're looking at the last half of October, and this reading is for our twins, the air sign of Gemini. I hope everyone's well. Thanks for being here, for watching these videos. Please hit that like button, share and subscribe as well, but that like button is important. Please hit that. Thank you to those of you who do, who reach out for personal readings, who refer and recommend me to others, who take the time to comment. My gratitude always, and many blessings back to you. Okay, Gemini. If your sun, moon, rising, Venus sign is in Gemini, if you're cross-watching for a Gemini, this video is for you. As we always say, it's a general reading, so it may resonate a little differently for everyone. If you know your sun, moon, rising, Venus, any or all of those, watch those as well for additional insight. If something really does resonate with you, you want to peel it back a bit, take a deeper look, reach out for a personal reading for yourself or as a gift for someone else, or information about that, or you simply like the reading style. If you are interested in a reading with me, please email me at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. You can see that contact info by clicking on the title or description of this video. I would love to hear from you, and I can usually get back to you the same day with all the relevant information. I do offer a pretty wide variety of readings in all areas of life, of all different types and lengths and costs and budgets. There's something in there for everyone. And I do readings full time. It's all that I do. So I'm able to schedule personal readings in a pretty timely fashion too, if that's important to you. So if you're interested, email me. All right, Gemini. Let's see what the last half of October 2023 looks like for you. I am using the Tarot of Dreams, clarifying with the Radiant Rider-Waite. We begin with the Emperor. Might be an Aries individual for some of you, an older individual. I mean, in a general reading, I don't focus too much on gender. The Emperor would be a male, but it's a really, really strong masculine energy. So typically an older person might be a father figure. I mean, it could be anybody really, a boss, a husband. But the Emperor is typically somebody older, somebody who has worked long and hard to already establish their life, the final decision maker, someone of seniority, status, decision-making ability. Again, it could be anyone. This could be the energy that you're manifesting during this time period, which is, I mean, the Emperor rules his empire, which is comprised of all the kingdoms that the kings and queens rule, but he's over all of that, right? So, you know, he does things by the book. He often has to make decisions, you know, for the greater good of the people, not necessarily what they want. This might be your energy, you know, somebody who runs everything, and it might be you for some of you, but I actually feel like for a lot of you, this is someone else. With the Emperor, we have the Queen of Wands, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, showing up as a female, but could be a male. The Queen of Fire, charismatic, enigmatic, a real go-getter. I actually am feeling a couple energy here. I mean, the Emperor is attached to the sign of Aries, and the Queen of Wands is also a fire sign as well, Leo, Aries, Sag. So I am kind of getting, for some of you, this represents a couple. Now that couple might be part of, you might be part of that couple, or it could be parents as well. Showing up as relevant here somehow. For some of you, but I think it's a smaller portion of you, this is your energy. You're running things, you're on top of it. Next, we have the Magician, the manifestor, the entrepreneur of the tarot. The Magician knows how to make things happen. He knows how to create, he or she, their own reality, right? By utilizing all of the elements, meaning your head, your heart, your physical work, your creativity and inspiration, pulling all of those things together to actually manifest something into reality. With the Moon, we got 3 major arcana cards so far, so probably a significant time for a lot of you. The Moon can be creativity and intuition. Things aren't entirely clear with the Moon. There may be some deep-seated fears or things that need to be addressed here. And what I'm getting, I mean, together the Magician and the Moon, Gemini, is a very powerful, really actually quite potent combination for manifesting what you want, but using your intuition to lead you, like connecting with your inner self in order to know how to manifest something. For some of you, but it's also an indication too that your subconscious or your intuition is trying to tell you something in regards to what you want to manifest. It may be that you need to do something a different way, or it may be that you need to relook at something you're trying to manifest, whether you actually or need to manifest it at all. Next, we have the Ace of Swords, seeing the truth, the light, a fresh new perspective, seeing something in the truth and reality of what it is. And even if it's not what you want it to be, just seeing it gives you the opportunity to make choices and decisions to create a healthier reality for yourself. A new beginning, a new perspective, kind of the light bulb going off over the head. Justice, the reap what you sow card, things being fair, moral, ethical, honorable, equitable. It's also the reap what you sow card. And what does it mean to reap what you sow? It means that the outcome of something is directly dependent on what you actually choose to do. Not what you think or dream, but what you actually do. That's what justice is about. Like, if you're dishonest about something, that will kind of bleed out in the outcome. Minimal investment, minimal return, maximum investment, maximum return. It's an interesting reading. From the bottom of the deck, the overall energy and focus for the last half of October is the Three of Coins. So it's teamwork, collaboration, people working together to accomplish something, a common cause or a common goal. It could also be mediation between parties to come to some kind of common agreement on how something proceeds moving forward. So it's quite clear that someone's trying to manifest here. But I feel like for some of you with this moon card, there's something that needs to be looked at or addressed or paid attention to. You're for some of you, this is using your intuition to manifest something that you want. Maybe the two of you together, or this couple here. I don't know. Let's move on and clarify. Clarify the Three of Coins. The King of Wands, the Queen of Wands. We have a couple here. So we have the Queen of Wands twice. But again, the Emperor is attached to the sign of Aries, which is a fire sign. And the King of Wands, of course, is a fire sign. So I'm getting that this is, for many of you, this is the same couple. Now, Gemini, for some of you, for many of you, I think you're one of the two people in this couple, in this partnership or team, whether it's romantic or otherwise. For others of you, there might be a focus on another couple, like it could be parents or something like that. We also have the Four of Wands with that, which is happy home, celebratory events that involve, social events that involve home and family, friends and family, weddings, parties, that sort of thing. Working together to build a happy, stable home life. Could be marriage. Let's clarify this Emperor and Queen of Wands. Let's clarify the Emperor. The Ten of Wands and the Eight of Cups. That's interesting because this is the energy the Emperor has. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling like something is growing or has grown too heavy to bear. I want to lay something down and walk away from something because it's not working for me. Let's take a look at that Queen of Wands. The Seven of Cups. Interesting. This is about exploring the possibilities and potentials of what something could be, only focusing on the best and brightest potential. It's kind of a dreamy, building castles in the sky, daydreaming, fantasizing. Feels like there's two people here who are not seeing eye to eye. One person is looking at something in one way. It's like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I can continue to do this. And the other person is looking at it in kind of like this almost daydreamy fantasy sort of way, I pulled the Lovers and the Moon again to go with that Queen of Wands. Yeah, so this is somebody who's I feel like this is somebody who's not being very grounded about whatever the issue is. Now, the issue might be the relationship itself, whether it's you in this particular relationship, or whether it's about a set of parents, one person is looking at it as really heavy. There's a heaviness there. And the other person is looking at it like, well, but, you know, trying to be really super positive, trying to focus on the best, brightest possibility that it could be, because, I don't know. I mean, the Lover is a decision. It's a choice, and the choice is going to really impact this primary relationship. Now the issue might be, again, about the relationship itself. Do we continue forward together? Do we go our separate ways? It might be in another area of life, but one that has an impact on the relationship. It's like, it feels like one person's being very pessimistic and kind of heavy about it, and the other person's being the exact opposite. I think this is two people who seem to want the same thing. You know, a happy home, happy, stable, balanced home, whatever that means. But they have different interpretations of it, and how they have they have a completely different perspective on it, which of course is going to cause conflict within a relationship. I think one person's being overly pessimistic, and the other person's being overly like dreamily optimistic, or perhaps idealistic. Let's look at the Magician. The Nine of Wands and the Nine of Cups. Yeah, the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment, getting everything you want, your cup's overflowing with abundance. That's what somebody wants to manifest here. But the Nine of Wands is, I've been through so much, and I'm so tired and discouraged and kind of worn out. Take a look at the Moon here. The Ace of Swords, again, the Two of Swords, and the Tower. Someone is not paying attention to their intuition because they're fearing the consequences of it. Meaning, so we have the Ace of Swords and Two of Swords. So the Ace of Swords is seeing the truth, seeing, you know, having a kind of this blinding, clear perspective on what something is, the reality of something. And in that space, you have the opportunity to make different decisions and choices to go on a different path to create perhaps a better reality for yourself. But here in the Two of Swords, someone's decided not to look at it, because if they look at it too closely, then they have to admit it, they have to acknowledge it, and make choices and take action. And this person is reluctant or resistant to do that. Why? Because of the Tower, because they're afraid everything will end. For those of you for whom this is about the relationship itself, this is like, okay, I'm going to keep... Two people have completely different ideas on what... They may say, oh yes, we want a happy life and a happy relationship, a happy home life, but they have two completely different ideas on what that is. They each define it. They each have a completely different reality, a definition of reality for what that is for each of them. And somebody, I feel the Queen of Wands, is ignoring their intuition about it. Says, well, if I just do this, if I just do that, if we just keep doing this, it'll work out somehow. They're actually afraid to trust their intuition, to look at the truth, because they feel if they do, they'll have to make a decision that will cause everything to come crashing down, like maybe break up or go their separate ways, and then you'll be alone, and maybe you'll never find anybody else. And I mean, how our fears play out, right? So it's stuck. It feels like two people who are stuck because they have completely different, it feels like opposing ideologies here. Let's take a look at the Ace of Swords and Justice. The Empress and the Five of Wands. Okay, we have the King and Queen of Wands, we have the Emperor and the Empress. It's obviously a couple here. And because the Empress is she softens the Emperor's kind of sharp edges a bit. And she's deserves the very best. I mean, she's the Empress. The Five of Wands is conflict, internal conflict, external conflict, fighting over and over and over again about the same thing, going around and around and around in circles about it. Justice. Yeah, what I'm getting here is one person saying, look, this is the thing that we need to do. This is the road we need to be walking. This is the thing we need to be focusing on. And the other person is like, no, it doesn't have to be this way. It's fine this way. And they're fighting over what's right, what's truth, what one person deserves versus what the other person deserves. Seven of Wands and Six of Wands, fighting and standing your ground until you get victory in what you feel is right. And it might also be that, you know, it feels more like the feminine energy here is going, look, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is what I deserve. I'm not going to accept anything less. And if I can't hear, then I may just move forward in a different direction, perhaps away from you. And it may be that there's competition there too. So that may be causing some, I mean, it's the Empress after all. The Empress would be looked at and admired and kind of wanted by, I mean, you can reverse this too, it really, in a general reading, but that's pretty much kind of the gist of it, is not being able to see things For example, I mean, the Four of Wands is one of the wedding cards, traditional wedding. Maybe this couple has been together for, quite some time, and one person says, okay, now it's time for us to get married, and the other person's like, no, everything's fine the way it is, but it's time for us to move forward. I mean, the Emperor and Empress, are pretty much a married couple because they do things in that conventional way. And the other person's like, no, everything's fine. And I mean, it could be a conflict about that as well. Four of Wands with Justice is, marriage, that contractual sort of thing. So again, two different clashes of belief systems and ideologies here in this situation, regardless of whether this is about your relationship, about parents and other couples. I mean, the details and the little specifics will vary in a general reading, but the energy fundamentally remains the same. There's conflict within a relationship, I think a long-term relationship, because they don't see eye to eye on how something should be done, on how something should be decided on, and how the path forward should progress together. There's a real clash here of belief systems. Let's ask for advice, guidance, feedback for Gemini, last half of October. The Devil, the Magician, the Ten of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, Five of Cups. Okay. I mean, this is a situation which is cyclical, which is that Five of Wands as well too, meaning that it goes back and forth, right? The Devil can be Capricorn energy, but it represents a situation which is or has grown to be unhealthy, right? But it keeps going, the cycle keeps going around and around and around. Why? Because there's a tempting aspect to the Devil card. There's like the message in your head, the reason, the justification, the excuse that says, right, but if I just this, if I just that, I need to go back to it because of this, or I need to stay because of that, all the things that keep us kind of chained there. But it just keeps going around and around. It's an unhealthy cycle that needs to stop. The Magician and the Ten of Swords. I mean, we have the Magician here who works so hard to create the kind of reality they want to create. But the Ten of Swords tends represent ending, cycle completion in a tarot, or full circle. So the Ten of Swords is surrendering to perhaps a painful realization, because swords is governed by air, which governs our mind, that something isn't going to be what you want it to be. It doesn't matter how much of this Magician energy you throw at it. If two people aren't on board on how something needs to work moving forward, it's never going to happen, or there's just going to be continued conflict. The Ten of Swords is coming to the perhaps painful realization that it isn't, that something isn't going to work out, that something's at an end, or it's just simply not going to be what you want it to be, right? It doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to manifest this. And I believe it's this feminine energy that needs to hear that. I mean, not to say that, well, it'll resonate for who needs to resonate for. And Spirit is asking you, based on that, to take a look at what you have invested in this and what you have to show for that, all of your efforts, and make decisions based on that. The Five of Cups, it's kind of my win some, lose some card. You have two cups upright and full. The focus is on the three cups, which are, tipped over and spilled out. That's what you don't have. That's what you do have. Okay, so it's, Spirit's asking you to take a kind of an inventory of this relationship or this situation. Take an inventory of that and ask yourself, okay, well, if the best I can get out of this is a 7, am I okay with that? Can I find a way to make peace with that and still remain in whatever this is, the relationship, the situation, go along with it, whatever. Not just stay and continue to complain and be unhappy, but can I find peace with, okay, it's only going to be this. But if the longing to make it a, 10 of Pentacles, right, that ultimate long-term security and stability is your ultimate goal, and you can't, which I feel as an Empress you couldn't, then you're going to have to make decisions and say, okay, this needs to change, or I have to move in a different direction. And Spirit's asking you to take a look at this, right? And there's a fear here. I think it's difficult for both of these sides. That's what's kind of, challenging here, is I think it's difficult for both of these sides, the King and the Queen, the Emperor and the Emperor. I think they're both struggling with looking at what the reality is, because the reality means that looking at the reality of something often means that you have to make choices that will create change, and there's a fear of that change, regardless of what that change is. For one person, the change is maybe it's going to cost them things in their life or their independence, or I don't know, whatever, right? For the other person, it's like, I'm afraid to kind of look at this because then I might have to decide that I need more and I have to walk away, and then, the Tower card. And so for the time being, I'm just kind of, it's stuck. It's two people who are stuck because they can't agree on how to move forward together on this. And Spirit is the advice from Spirit is to take an inventory of it and ask yourself, what can I live with, what can I live without, and what can't I, in order to be happy moving forward. So, and make decisions based on that, because it's going to be individual for everybody, right? And I think I'm just going to leave it there. So Gemini, those are your messages for the last half of October. It wasn't a terrible reading. It wasn't a wonderful reading either. I mean, that's life, right? Life goes in these cycles up and down. It's not all, what do they say? It's not all rainbows and unicorns and Skittles. I mean, these things happen. We find ourselves in situations where we have to ask ourselves, am I willing to compromise? And if so, how far? And still have peace, right? So it's just kind of one of those situations. But I hope, Gemini, that what we've seen here today has helped kind of clarify things, or at least given you some food for thought moving forward. If this resonated with you, again, and you'd like to maybe peel it back a little bit, take a deeper look, reach out for a personal reading for yourself or as a gift for someone else, or you simply like the reading style and you're interested in a personal reading, feel free to email me, Maggie, @gmail.com. You can also see that info by clicking the title or description of this video. I would be delighted to hear from you and to work with you. I will see you all in a couple of weeks for the November general readings. Stay safe and well. Hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.